Hey guys, I'm back with another provider review, and this time I'm looking at these guys, Plantry. Now Plantry are a relatively newcomer to the convenience food products that you'll find at leading supermarkets like Woolworths and Coles in the freezer aisle. Now as a nutritionist, I get pretty excited when I see food manufacturers encouraging people to eat more plants, because regardless of what diet you choose to adopt, whether it's vegetarian, vegan, flexitarian, or just a standard Australian diet, we need to be consuming more plants and a diverse range of plants. This is going to give us an amazing amount of health benefits, but also really great for the environment. So I do get excited about seeing new products like this hit the market. Having said that, this is a perfect example of what is wrong with our food industry. Now, without getting on my soapbox too much, I just have to say that food that is nutrient poor and made of cheap ingredients is not beneficial to our health at all and shouldn't actually be on our supermarket shelves, in my opinion. So I'm going to today not get too frustrated, but share with you 7 reasons why, from a nutrition perspective, you should just walk straight past Plantry meals and choose something else. So first of all, these meals are incredibly high in refined carbohydrates. So refined carbohydrates are those carbs, products like things like grains and starchy veg that have been stripped back and refined. So things like white rice, white flour, cornstarch, those sorts of products. Now these give substance to the meal, so they can give you a sort of feeling of fullness, but it's not a long-lasting feeling of fullness. And they're incredibly cheap to use for a food manufacturer. The second thing that really grinds me about these meals is that they rely solely on soy protein to provide a protein source. Now, I'm not against soy protein use, but we have an amazing array of plant-based protein sources that are whole foods. So things like your lentils, beans, quinoa, nuts, seeds, fermented soy products like quality tofu and tempeh, yet they have chosen the most affordable option, which is a soy protein. So again, this doesn't have a whole lot of nutritional value when you compare it to something like lentils and legumes. Thirdly, these actually don't contain that much vegetables or that much diversity of vegetables. So you might see things like some tomatoes in there and aromatics like garlic, onions, ginger. Of course, these are great for us and taste beautiful, but they're lacking for a plant-based meal provider. They are lacking variety and diversity and quantity of vegetables. As a result, my number 4 is that these are low in fibre. So without those vegetables and whole grains, you are really lacking in fibre. Now we know fibre is really important for our blood sugar balance. It's important for things like our gut health. It's important for weight maintenance. So there's a lot of benefits of eating fibre, and it's kind of ironic because a well-balanced vegetarian or vegan diet is typically high in fibre. Now number 5, probably something that was originally quite surprising to me is the amount of sodium in these meals. So these are incredibly high. This pad thai, which does have some of those sauces that you would associate with a normal pad thai, as well as additional of salt. But this is a whopping 440 milligrams per 100 gram of sodium. Now to put that in perspective, that is pretty similar to a Hungry Jack's Whopper burger. Now, a low sodium food or meal is measured at about 120 milligrams per 100 grams. So you can really understand how much sodium is in this tiny little meal, and which has no nutritional value. It's just a negative on our health. The other thing that these guys are really high in is sugar. So they are overly sweet. That sugar is going to increase that carbohydrate level of the meal. It's going to cause things like blood sugar balance. It leads to inflammation, weight gain, all those things that we want to try and avoid when we're eating a plant-based diet. Now, lastly, number 7 is the use of cheap and nutrient poor ingredients. So they don't use quality ingredients as they suggest. You know, their meals are all filled with vegetable oil, emulsifiers, thickeners, sugar, salt, things that actually are not going to bring us any benefit at all. So there are just 7 reasons why you need to skip these meals and don't include them in your diet. Now, I am all for enjoying food and including some things in our diet that maybe don't have nutritional benefit but bring us enjoyment and excitement when we eat and fill up our little cup. But when it comes to taste, these guys are incredibly disappointing. They're sickly sweet because the amount of the sugar in here. Even this little tomato, basil, garlic pasta number was just overly sweet. That was the dominating flavour. The other thing that they do is in meals like this butter curry, instead of the chicken, they create these meatless like pieces, which is similar to a lot of meal providers out there that are vegetarian or vegan friendly. These pieces are bland, kind of sponge-like in texture, and it's actually really not enjoyable to eat. In fact, I removed them all from this butter curry and it ended up just having some flavoured rice. So I actually don't really know what the concept is behind having meatless-like pieces. I just think that there are so many diverse textures in plant-based foods that we could be using rather than trying to mimic a product that an animal product that we don't want to include in these meals. You know, these guys have the opportunity to create vibrant meals that celebrate plant-based ingredients, but instead they've just left me feeling uninspired, frustrated, and I didn't enjoy these one bit. So to be honest, the only place that these guys should be is in the bin. That's my review. You can read more on mealprep.com.au. Let me know what you think. Maybe you actually really enjoy these meals, or maybe you can educate me on why the meatless pieces are actually a good inclusion in these meals, or maybe you miss meat and that's why you like to eat them, or it gives the substance that you miss from some meals that do contain animal products. I'd love to hear your thoughts.